Hello, good morning, good time of day to everyone. Again, I'm Nick Perro. We are back for the Sick of This Show on Sick of This Shit publications for the Intelligent Masculinity series. And I am joined for my second discussion of this day on Thursday, January 15th, with Dr. Eric Lullove, a friend of mine, a new friend of mine over the last few weeks and months. And I'm really glad I have gotten to know him and that he has become part of my life. And so, Eric, welcome. It's really good to see you. Can you introduce yourself just a little bit
Yeah.
for anyone who doesn't know you in the audience?
Hey, everybody. So I am Eric Lullove. I am a podiatric physician during the day. I'm a father, husband, best friend, pickleball player in the evening, researcher, substacker. So part of the new community of building intelligent men and having a role in this world that is not of hate and evil.
I love it.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you're out here doing it too, because there's a lot of work to be done. And
Feels like sledding uphill sometimes.
It sort of is. Like,
Yeah.
we're sledding uphill with jetpacks pushing the sled back down.
Yeah. Feels that way.
And we're trying to use like a horse-drawn carriage. Like that's what we're trying to do. Or like pull with one dude while 45 people sit on a sled and just go, or 47 sized people go sit on a sled and just go, I'm shitty. Let's go down the hill. That's what we're against. So Eric, I'm glad you're here with me. This is going to be a really fun conversation.
Yeah,
we have a little bit more time. Well, we have an hour because we want to respect your time, but maybe a little bit more flexibility from our conversation I just had with Walter, which is we're going to explore intelligent masculinity and we're going to explore what it means to us. We're going to explore how it's a part of our lives, how we have grown figures in our lives that are important to us, and what do we do about it? Like, how do we express it in the world? Plus, as you already know, there's going to be a little fun at the end with some Mulan and our whimsical side as we do the I'll Make a Man Out of You segment, which has some fun, but also some good lessons. Walter showed some really good lessons. Sherrod has shown some really good lessons. And
Sherrod was amazing.
Oh my God, Sherrod was amazing.
For a 19-year-old kid, he is wise beyond his years where he's at.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And I give Sherrod and Shane so much credit for what they're doing. Shane is 25, I think it is. Sherrod's 19. Like, Sherrod works with Gavin Favor, who's also another young man who's, I think, about 19 or 20 as well. And they started Centered America, 501c4 organization that is trying to center the discussion on values and pro-dignity and pro-life, not on whatever regressive bullshit that we are going through right now. And that's super. Like, I was drinking and doing dumb shit in college in a fraternity as a music major. That was what I was doing at 19.
I don't remember much of my 20s, if that gives you any idea of what I was doing. So
same. Like early 20s, I don't remember a lot of it. Like, if that tells you what it means, like, so be it. But
I don't remember much of my 20s. I forgot the majority of my 30s. I really didn't start living till my 40s.
I've been lucky.
And I'm living my best life in my 50s. And I hope that I live well into my older years so I can really enjoy my best years.
Yeah, I hope you do too.
Same here.
You get to enjoy them and that we get to hang out while you're enjoying them and doing our shows and having these discussions and giving people a place to come that doesn't suck. Because part of all of this discussion, so I didn't say it in the show with Walter right before this, but is at the end of this whole series, this 2-month long temporary series right now, which I'll probably make permanent, and just keep going forward with these types of discussions. But at the end of this initial 2-month period, Shane Yerk is going to interview me as the one who has to answer these questions. And then I'm going to close it out with a full discussion of articles. And deep diving into what we've learned, what new intelligent masculinity and the scholar warrior mentality is, what each person exemplifies in it, and the lessons we've learned. Because each show so far has had a different subtext to it, slightly. Each one is slightly different, and everybody has their own
As it should be.
view, as it should be. Yeah,
As it
because it's
should be.
our own lived experiences. Um, and it's building an incredible narrative. And so I posed it to Walter before I asked him the question, but I want to wait on it this time, is what my thesis behind intelligent masculinity is. You may have heard it already, but I want to get your thoughts before I, let's say, poison the well with my idea.
No, there's no poisoning with you, Nick. No. It's maybe a
Well,
slow pain, but not poisoning. No.
well, isn't that poisoning? Slow, painful death? Over
No,
long
sometimes
periods of
poison
time?
doesn't always kill you.
Oh,
It just
that's
makes
right.
you very uncomfortable.
Oh, that's true. I'm like that.
Yeah.
I'm like that, like gnat that just buzzes in your ear that you can't ever fucking get away. That just keeps repeating this shit. Like, be a better person. Be a better person. Ask yourself questions. So I'm going to ask you some questions, my friend.
Let's go.
As we go into intelligent masculinity.
Yeah.
So the first one, again, this one is going to probably end up being a two-part question because it always does. But that's the fun of this question, is that it can break down into two parts.
Yeah.
Is the first part here is, who has been the most influential male figure in your life and why? And it does not have to be for a positive reason.
So, unfortunately, I'm going to say it was my father. Believe it or not,
Okay.
there are really two men in my life. The first one was my dad. Now, I lost my father when I was 33. He had a really aggressive cancer diagnosed when he was 52. Passed away when he was 58. He passed away 6 weeks after my first marriage. Like literally 6 weeks after my wedding day, I was burying my father. So when I look at role models, I mean, my dad was flawed, as I think, we all look at our parents as part of it. I think getting mature as a male is understanding that even though your father can be your hero and your role model, that you have to understand that in our heroes can be flawed, which is why, believe it or not, Batman is actually my favorite comic book hero, because he was so flawed as an individual that this other persona of the Batman, which was basically this expression of who he could be, which he couldn't do as Bruce Wayne, right? So my father really was one of my earlier heroes, and I always looked up to my father. He was a guy's guy. He was loved. He had great charisma. He was friends with everybody, very similar to what I bring to the table with my own personality. But him passing away when I was 33, so for the last 22 years, I have been my own role model. I've had to basically step up in my life to be that role model for my wife, for my daughter, for our other family members, for my wife's three boys. Even though they have their own biological dad, and they were adults when we got married, but I've had to be that step up type person. It's taken me a while to get to that point, to find out really that I don't need to be that aggressive male role model. I can be the more nourishing, nurturing, be there, supportive, without having to be the aggressive male. It's not a typeset that I believe in. And I've had to kind of deliver that with my own clinical practice. Like, patients don't want to walk in and have the doctor be an asshole.
Yeah.
Like, there was an old saying, like, one of the best vascular surgeons in my area had great surgeon, terrible bedside manner. He was actually an asshole to everybody, but he was such a great surgeon that you knew you were going to get taken care of. You just didn't like how he was going to take care of you. It was like,
yeah,
right. So, but I've kind of changed, really. So the two parters, really, and then I've had different role models in my life, but really my father, and then kind of looking at myself. And I, to be honest with you, I think the other role model in the last 15 years of my life has really been my wife.
that was
Who
going
has
to be the
been,
second half.
Right, which is the second half, which is the
Yeah.
strong, nurturing, supportive part of my life that has centered me when I've needed to be centered and to be brought back down to earth and to understand that there's a whole nother aspect of personality that needs to be cultivated. That, you know, being even Gen X, we didn't really tie into that early in our lives. It was more still kind of that baby boomer filter in to be that typical male. But now I'm seeing the other half of where I need to be into my later half of my life.
So going into that, how has that changed some of the ways you manage like emotional burdens? Like as you've um, learned from the support and the grounding that your wife is able to help you with, how has that helped you learn to either manage your own emotional burden or use like I hate saying use your wife as a sounding board because that's rude and that sucks. Is I I use my wife and I use each other as
Right.
emotional grounders, but we don't rely on each other's emotions. How
Correct.
do you balance that in your own life?
So I think part of being a successful male role model in today's world is really kind of being measured, right? It's being that ability to say, you know what, there's good decisions that have good outcomes. There's bad decisions that have really bad consequences. But I will tell myself frequently that sometimes the best decision is no decision. Is, you know what, being patient and just waiting. Like, I don't have to make a decision on how I feel about this right now. Let me take some time and process what I need to do or how I have to feel about it. And I think that's something I've learned as I've gotten older. It's certainly my patience level at 25 is not what it is at 55. And it's really only in the last, I'm going to say the last 5 or 6 years where I've really had a much better understanding of that word patience as it comes to internal calm. Like, you don't need to fly off the handle. You don't need to react to every situation. Sometimes you just kind of hang back, let the situation play out in front of you, and then make your move and be more calculated and be more strategic. Just like we try to be, and this is the lesson for everybody, is to be more strategic with your finances, especially in today's where things are today. Be more strategic in business, be more strategic with who you choose to spend time with, friends, even family members, right?
Mhm.
Because there's all these toxic influences coming into our life via social media and technology and politics and family and just like I feel like I'm almost Walter preaching here a little bit, but it's like because I feel like I'm channeling Walter a little bit.
You should.
But
He's a good person to channel.
yeah,
I don't blame
I
you.
can't impersonate Walter. I don't have the voice inflection for Walter, but I feel like I'm like channeling. I just don't have the skull cap right. I'm not wearing the beanie and like the headphones, but I hear Walter saying this. Like, there's all this toxicity coming into our lives every day. And I think being able to take a step back and be more patient with it before firing off that text message or firing off the Substack note or texting how angry you are. I think just taking that 10-second pause, that deep breath, that taking that moment of Zen. We've talked about wellness a lot too, right? And how
Mhm.
important it is in our lives. Like, I really do think that me taking a step back and having a more mental wellness check each day or moments during the day has been, I think, one of the greatest changes I've made in my life.
I think having one of those things too, building on that from your answers, having the group of men around me that I've been building alongside me and helping and just growing and learning and meeting with, like building a group of men, like Sherrod Sweeney said when I interviewed him, was that you can cry around.
Mhm.
Build a circle of friends and men, if you're a man, that you can cry around because that's what you're missing in your life right now. You would be a lot happier if you just processed your emotions out and checking people and checking in on people. But I think the first part I won't go too far into all of that, is I think checking people is a good one. Is like checking our friends and checking
Mhm.
ourselves. It's a lot of what you just said, Eric, was stop, be patient. There is a technique in emotional distress tolerance called the stop technique, which is literally where you stop yourself from saying the thing or doing the thing right there so you can evaluate it. So you can say, should I do this? It's that boom, patient moment where you just go, no, I'm not going to impulsively say this or impulsively do that. So I appreciate that you do that in your own life.
I try to. I'm not perfect. I'm very flawed. I am, I am a life's work. I am I am the sculpture of the artist that it's never finished. That's and I see that but I always tell my wife this, I tell my daughter this, like God doesn't throw things at you that he knows you can't handle. So and this is the message for everybody too, like it's just because it's really hard today doesn't mean that tomorrow can't be better.
Yeah.
And you might have a period of time, as you like to say, Nick, that sucks. Like it just sucks. Like we've all had those moments. We've had those periods in our lives that just suck. And you feel like you can't dig out of it. You just feel like it's quicksand every day. Just
Yeah.
more quicksand, or you're just slogging through it. But life always has a way of working its way out of things as long as you continue to persevere and be patient and try to do better. I think these are the life lessons that men need to learn younger, that we can teach our younger generations, our kids in particular. Like, try to, you don't have to have it all right now. It's okay if you don't have it right now, because you can have it later. And then the things, and it's not about the things, it's the marrow of life. Like, you don't need to live and travel in your 20s and go to 122 countries by the time you're 25.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice that you can do that if you have the ability to do that, but what are you, and it's great to have culture and all that stuff, but you're not building your life, you're delaying it.
Yeah.
You need to work and then build that culture and travel and have those in, kind of do it sequentially as opposed to exponentially.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's okay to take your time.
Yeah,
I
there's
like
no
that.
time limit.
Yeah. You have until you die, which could be tomorrow, but it could also be in 50, 60, 80 years. So
Right. Or like my
sometimes it's
grandmother,
okay
who's
to take your time.
104, who's
That's
still
awesome.
around. She's
Good for
amazing.
her.
She's still got all her marks. She'll tell you where it's at though. She if she was anywhere technical, we could get her on just to have her talk at 104, and how lucid she is and how an amazing of a woman she is. I mean, she was born in 1921. Think about the life that she has lived in the last 100 years. I mean, to have a centenarian and have it be lucid memory of
Yeah.
everything, it's crazy when she comes to dinner at the house. And like, I'll just, my wife and I will just literally like let her talk, and I'll just have my phone and I'm just I'm just recording it, because who knows when I'm going to get another opportunity to hear that story again or to hear what she's saying. It's truly amazing.
We should find a way to do that for you and for her, is
Yeah.
to just
She won't
have her
get looking
talk.
at this though. She won't understand looking here. She'll be looking around, seeing who she's supposed to be talking to. But
We'll figure
we'll figure it out. She's amazing
we'll
to have
try and
on.
figure it
Her
out.
perspective is just crazy. I mean, it's
I mean,
and,
with 100 years, you've learned some things. You've
oh yeah.
learned some things in that time, um, and you've had to go through some stuff. And especially as a woman in America, going 100 years of history, you get to seeing the evolution of your own rights and then having them begin to be stripped away right at the end.
Yeah.
Um, is I can't imagine what that must be like in her mind and
She's
how
angry.
she's feeling.
Oh, she gets animated over it. She's a lifelong Democrat. She'll tell you. Yeah. I mean, you got to remember, she grew up at a time when women weren't even allowed to have credit cards,
Yeah.
let alone pump their own gas and drive a car. I mean, it was just it whole different world. But she was very fortunate. My great grandmother was one of the first women to graduate university and become a social worker back in I think it was in the 30s or the 40s. Like, it was something that women just didn't do back then, and she went and got a master's degree and became a social worker. And she was, I mean, it just, and unfortunately, I didn't really know my great grandmother well. She passed away when I was like 7 or 8 years old, and it didn't have. I remember her, but I don't remember. Like I don't remember the relationship. But what's been amazing with my daughter, she's turning 18, is she's had an 18-year relationship with her great grandmother.
Yeah.
I mean, that's unbelievable.
That's special.
And she'll have that for the rest of her life, and she'll remember every day of it.
Yep.
And I'm
Yep.
so blessed that she has that for her.
I'm going to say I'm blessed that I'm very happy too on my side in my family that my wife's grandfather is still alive. And actually, two of my wife's grandfathers and one of her grandmothers is still alive.
That's
So
great.
my kids have
Bless your
3
family.
great grandparents that they get to see. I lost
That's
my
amazing.
grandparents when I was young and early teenage years. Like I haven't had grandparents for a very long time, but my kids get to have great grandparents and grandparents.
That's amazing.
And so I find that amazing, like having that amount of history together and getting to see the generations, because we've got from 80s to down to like 2s and 3s and 4s. Like there's a huge gap in the
How
family.
fun are
and it's
those
amazing.
family pictures, right? How
Oh,
fun are
they're
those
big.
family
They're
pictures?
big too.
Oh yeah.
Like we've got kids starting elementary school. We've got kids getting into college. We've got folks like there's the group that's roughly my age. Then there's the group that's roughly your age. Then there's the group that's like a little bit older. And so we've got like we do so many fun things, and it's such a wonderful experience for them to be able to
Now,
have.
I know it's your interview, but I'm going to ask you a question. I'm going to throw one back.
Yeah.
Having a family of that size with
Yeah.
the multiple of generations, with the multi-generational family that you have, how does that make you feel as a parent? Like spending all that, as much as it's an aggravation to get everybody together and cooking and making plans and getting the menu set and having enough seats for everybody, or even if you're going out to dinner and going to a restaurant, basically taking over the entire restaurant. But just to have all of that family together and then to be able to pick and choose your conversations with that many people.
Yeah. I have to say it's really cool. We didn't get this for a long time. My wife and I have been married for almost 11 years now. We've been together, I think, 13-ish years, overall, 12 or 13 years. And during the first 8 years of our marriage, I didn't know this side of my wife's family.
Wow. Shane, if you're watching, this is your whole interview set up right here. Shane, if you're watching this, interview set up.
And so I didn't know that whole side of the family. We did have part of my wife's family was on the West Coast where one of her grandfather lives. So we had an experience of that much generation from one half of her family. And then we got it from the other half of her family. So we made it a point every Thanksgiving and every summer while we were in Washington State to drive 13 hours to go to where we needed to in California at least twice a year so that our kids could see their great grandfather.
That's great.
And great aunts and cousins on that side and the entire family. And it's amazing because I don't have that on my side of the family.
Yeah.
And my parents are older. My parents are closer in age to my wife's grandparents, which means my kids are not going to have them the same length of time. And their kids may never meet them. Whereas my grandkids will probably meet my wife's family and my wife's parents because they're going to be younger. And so they'll have them in. So I feel a little bit of sadness knowing that I may not experience that again for my family on my side. But I also feel the happiness that my kids get it from part of their family.
How rich are your kids going to be just for having that one half of that family experience in that aspect? And it's really a blessing. And what I was going to kind of finish the thought process with this little topic here was I think we all need to get back to family. I think we've not the current sitting president's version of what the 50s should be family wise, but more of a modern look. We need to just get back to family and just get back to love, kindness, empathy, compassion, the things that drew us together in the first place, to be together, and not all this extraneous crap that goes on, with stressors and this person and that person. Just get back to the core of why we are family, right? That we have more in common together than we do apart.
And we make our own families. Your family
Mhm.
doesn't have to be from blood. Like
No,
your spouse is not a blood related person, yet
no.
they are your family.
Hmm.
And their families become your families if they want to be, or if you want them to
Yeah.
be in your life. And I've been fortunate to have that type of thing. Um, and so this actually leads really well into the next question, which is, to you, what does intelligent masculinity actually mean?
So, I've heard everybody else's answers, right? And I'm not going
Yeah.
to do the textbook Gemini.google.com AI answer, because that's not what it is. I think it's a very fluid, dynamic definition. It can't just be parsed into one sentence that incorporates each day. It's I think the word intelligent masculinity is more of a theme than it is a
Mhm.
definition. And I think it's more about kind of like it's the opening doorway to start having the conversations with other men about how do you want to live your life moving forward once you understand the concept. And I think it's more of a concept versus a definition. And I'm not trying to be evasive, but it's
No.
more about it's I really do believe that it's more about how you live your life. It's about the choices you make each day that lead you down this correct path of being an intelligent male without being, the coach that grabs the face mask of a football player and yells in his face. It's about making that choice instead of grabbing the face mask like I grew up with coaches grabbing my hockey mask and getting in my face, versus putting your hand on the kid's shoulder and say, you know what? Okay, so you made a mistake in your positioning. So how can we fix this? Right? What do we, just it's taking a different approach that's more calm, more collected, taking you can be compassionate, empathetic without losing your masculinity. You can
Yes.
be a better person and not lose your masculinity. You can still be a strong-willed type A male without losing your masculinity. Without losing the other part of it that makes you a whole person. And I think the real definition here is it's about being a complete person. It's incorporating both the yin and the yang, and that molding that together, and that's forming your intelligent masculinity. It's about taking the positives and the negatives, the yin, the yang, the feminine side. Because remember, all men are XY. So
Yep.
let's get into the science of this, right? So we get our maternal X chromosome. The Y is from our fathers. Okay. Women don't have that. They're two X's. So they're going to get one X from their father, but you don't know which X they got from their mom's side. It could be the paternal side or the maternal side. But as men, we know our X chromosome comes from mom and the Y chromosome comes from dad. So we are a little bit more predictable in our behavior, but we also know patterns of male behavior, that the aggressiveness, the all the negative energy shit, right? We can track that through family history, just like sex links traits like color blindness and balding and disease patterns. But we can trace behavior back to genetic roots. And I think part of this is just the chemical understanding of, listen, I'm not saying that people don't need to take medications, and if you've got a legitimate imbalance that you can manage with medication, yes, do it. And there's mental health, and then there's chemical health, and then there's physiological health, there's emotional health. But all of this leads down to this one road of this concept of what I believe the masculinity of being intelligent means. It means using your head that's 3 feet above your ass, not the other head.
I
right?
like that. Yeah, use your
Okay.
big head, not your little head.
Use your big head. That's the one that sits on top of. That's why we call it the crown, right? And it's just. I think it's just being about being smarter about your choices and being more deliberate about your life. You know, and we all have impulse issues, right? We all get impulsive. It's part of human nature. It's what we
Yeah,
do, right? We get emotional. We're reactive. I'm not saying that we have to be these stoic robots that can't argue and yell. That's part of life is being able to express yourself, but you have to do it in a way that's not harmful to other people or harmful to your spouse. You cannot be acting in a way that threatens the people that you love or the people that you care about. You have to do it in a way that is measured.
yeah, and
That makes
that
sense.
goes, yeah, that goes
I
back
just
to
lose
your,
everybody in Substack land with that whole roundabout conversation. Like, I feel like
at
I don't
least
know
to
what
me
I
that
can't
makes
see the
sense.
chat, so I don't know what people are saying in the chat, Nick. But I'm like, I
No,
mean,
yeah. There's people are agreeing. We've got Evan Fields in the chat with
hey,
us
buddy,
as
what's
always.
up, Evan?
Telling you he's loving this and the direct and what you're talking about, and I do too. And because or and the idea of like Yanni in our chat is saying it too, is like doing a friend audit. You realize you don't have any blood relatives. That's okay. Like you make family and friends throughout your
Mm-hmm.
life. And sometimes they're only there for a season. They're only there for a time. And
Yeah,
you take the blessing of that friendship or the good from that friendship or even the bad from it when you part or whatever happened and you learn and grow from it. And that's a lot of what you were saying in there. Um,
I said it
and
without really saying it, but yeah.
yeah, and it fits back in with my overall theme and the thesis and the idea that I'm coming to on what I guess a baseline idea or concept of what intelligent masculinity is looking to showcase for men, and what the idea is you refuse to outsource your accountability to others, and it's
That's a
the
great definition. That's a great concept right there.
the discipline to live with your consequences of your actions and values, be them good consequences or bad consequences. It's the ability to live with those consequences after you have not forked over your accountability onto others.
Yeah, I think that's been the single life lesson that I've learned is is that you got to own it. You got to own your shit. You got to own the bad shit as much as the good shit.
Yeah,
And once you realize it's all shit, then you start to work your filters on avoiding all the bad shit. And unfortunately, yeah, there's people that can't avoid it. They're constantly making bad decisions. They're constantly they make consistently bad choices. And there's just some people that just that's the life that they have. It's just the way they're processing information, right? You know, I sit and look around my life with the people that are in it, my neighbors, my friends, people I interact with, my business contacts, and I try to surround myself with good people. And the minute there's a toxic environment, especially with my business stuff, I jettison it. Gone, bye, get out. I don't need you. And even
yeah.
with patients that are toxic, I won't tolerate that in my practice. Like if you're going to get toxic, there's the door. I don't have time for your bullshit today. And unfortunately, it's part of life today. People feel entitled and people feel like they can act any way they want. But you have to own your consequences, you know, and you have to own the bad decisions. And I think that's the biggest part of growing up as a guy is owning it. And once you
Yeah,
understand that you need to own it, you can live your life in a much healthier place because you've accepted responsibility for your life. And it's nobody else's life to live but yours.
I love that. It's nobody else's life to live but yours. Um, there's some amazing quotes that I'm getting out of all of these shows. Like everyone has had something just so simple yet meaningful to say, about, like, Walter was saying something really profound before this, and it boiled down into my head was it's just the golden rule. Like
Yeah.
Intelligent masculinity is living by the golden rule, is do unto others as you want done unto you. And that's
Yeah.
all it is in a lot of ways. Um, and so with that framing and what we've talked about on patience, on letting yourself stop and think, how do you model the intelligent masculinity in your life?
So this is where actions are louder than words. You can put all this stuff on paper. You can write a lot. You can write multiple articles on how people are to behave and what you think they're right. But if you don't follow the practice of what you write and what you publish and what you believe, you've got to live the mantra, right? You've got to live the words that you speak. And if I'm telling patients they need to diet and exercise and do this, then I better do it myself. Otherwise, you're coming in to see a physician who's 300 pounds, who's 55 years old, who's going to die in the next week from a massive heart attack, right? So, how does a patient believe me if I'm not doing those things I'm asking them to do, right? And it
Yeah.
would be the same way. And we have to model. It's the same thing. If I tell people that your life is only yours to live, then I have to follow that same mantra. Same with Walter, the golden rule: do unto others as you would done unto you. Be nice to people. I think I said it yesterday when I did a quick live yesterday. I know you popped in for a few minutes. I was only on for 20, but I said, be kind. Do something nice for somebody today.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it means calling a friend and checking in on them. I think you and I were texting last night. And the first thing I said to you was, how are you?
Yep.
You know, and I just that little, how are you? And it's such an inviting comment. Three little words. How are you? You know, that makes such a difference in communicate. And I think also one of the things that,
It makes you feel welcome
yeah,
from the person who receives that text message. It makes you feel welcome. It makes you feel valued just for existing.
but I also think, and with a lot of noise, right? We live in a lot of noise. I think we all need to be better listeners. I really do think that we're not listening to each other. There's a lot of talking over each other. And I think what's great about the show that we do with Evan and Walter is that each of us make sure that we don't talk over each other. Even if I inadvertently interrupt either Evan or Walter, I'd be like, go ahead, Walter. I don't need to speak right now. Let me hear what you have to say.
Yeah.
And that's what's great about you. Is you're such a phenomenal moderator.
Thanks.
Because
I
you're like even keel. You're like a very calm ocean, even though probably under the water, you're more like
It's pretty roiling most days.
They're going 300 miles an hour. But
oh yeah, my brain is just like all over the place. So
but
I'm glad it looks calm.
Yeah, it's more about listening. And I have to work on that more with my wife. I know I have to work on that with a lot of people. And it's just about listening. It's about hearing what they have to say. Even if you don't agree, listen.
As Jack says in the chat, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth. Listen twice as often as you speak.
Oh, that's a great comment.
Like
that one
Jack's
goes in
in
the book.
Oh yeah. Jack,
yeah.
I'm copying that so that it goes into the quote book for today.
Do we have your permit? Do we have your consent to reproduce?
Quote from Jack. And I'm excited to talk to Jack too. Like Jack is coming on for one of the intelligent masculinity series discussions. And my favorite part about all of this is I get to bring all the men around me that I have been meeting for these things. Like you're going to see, and everybody has such different experiences. And like, I'm excited for when Arturo Dominguez comes on.
Oh, that's going to be an amazing show.
Oh my God. It's going to be
he's going to be incredible.
Just wait for Qasim Rashid to come on. He's coming on towards the end of February. Jack is coming on, and his story is going to be very different than everyone else's. Just like Lawrence's was different, just like Shane's was different, just like yours is different. But we're all like, we've all just realized we need to take a step back, and it's not about us. It's not our ego anymore. Like,
right.
Yes, I have an ego. Yes, I think I'm good at things, but I don't project that ego onto others as often as I used to. There are times when I still do because egos are warranted. We're going to have Evan Fields on next week. I think Marlon Weems is coming on too. Marlon's going to be a great
Marlon's
discussion.
gonna be
He's a
great
cool
too.
dude.
Marlon's a great guy.
Um,
I love everybody you're bringing on. You're setting a lineup. This is like the history of the New York Yankees all-star superstar lineup in a triple header, and everybody
no,
gets
no, no. This
one.
is the
And you're gonna
history
lose
of the Boston Red
19-0.
Sox.
Oh, Red Sox, you're
As I talk over you, as you say, we don't talk over each other. I'm a Red Sox fan, so I can't let that one stand. This
okay.
is the history of the Red Sox winning the World Series after they came back from three
3-0.
games down to the Yankees, and then they swept the rest of the series and swept the Cardinals. And it was an amazing experience because I got to watch that as a kid for the first time. Boston had won in decades, and I got to see it and I got to experience it with my family, where three of us are Boston fans and one is a Yankees fan. I won't reveal who. Mom, um, too bad for you. You lost that one. We all won. It's
I mean,
I and but we can
I've
have
been
these rivalries and fun
yeah.
conversations about things without fighting each other. Like it's
Yeah.
not about us fighting.
I mean, I've been
Um,
pretty blessed. I mean, I grew up in the Detroit area, so I've been very blessed. I got to go to the World Series in '84. I got to see, two NBA championships with the Pistons. I got to see three NBA championships with the Pistons, two Stanley Cup Finals with the Red Wings, two national championships with the University of Michigan. I grew up in a very heavy sports town, and so the only team that really has been not great for me has been the Lions. But I'm that perennial Lions fan that they start the season and everything's great, and then the wheels come off the wagon and they finish 10-6, 10-7,
Sort of
or
like the
9-8.
Cowboys
And it's the greatest season on the planet because like they finished 9-8. It's like
yeah.
right.
We have a winning record. It's like the Cowboys in
And we're
the
drafting 18th and not
playoffs.
going to have a great draft pick, right?
Yeah. I mean, the Cowboys choke in the playoffs, so the Lions choke during the regular season. So got to have
Well, they've
something.
been also the most injured team the last 2 years. They've lost more
Yeah.
player games to injury the last 2 years, which has really derailed a lot of their good runs that they have. But anyway, I know we have more questions.
We have
to
more
get.
questions.
Yes, we
This has
do.
been a great conversation, though.
I love
Thank
it.
you so much.
But this is what happens, guys, when in Substack land, when you're literally having a phenomenal conversation, and then you look at the clock and realize it's been 40 minutes and it's been a Seinfeld episode.
Yeah. And we've still got 4 questions left.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
At least the last 4 are the quick ones.
Yes.
Or 4 of the last ones are quick. We've got 5 questions left. Sorry. This is the last non-whimsical question. We've talked about it a lot too already. So you can keep your answer as long or as short as you want. And this is, how do you self-reflect and self-evaluate through all of this?
So I'm pretty fortunate. The home that my wife and I have just recently built, we have made wellness areas around our house. So for me, it's the outdoor backyard with a nice pool. We put an outdoor sauna in. So a lot of my reflection is when I'm in the sauna at night. And I spend a lot of time, I'll spend 35, 40 minutes in the sauna getting a good sweat in, for the physiological health. But this is when I do a lot of my reflecting because I'm so busy during the day. I don't have time to do it in the middle of my day in my office. And I've got research projects and Substack and, patients and charts and records and administrative work. So when I get home and it's like 9:30, 10 o'clock at night and I've had dinner and we've walked the dogs and that's my reflection time. And I noticed that since I've been able to do that, I'm a much more calmer individual. I have that decompression time that's in my own space. And I think we need to do more of that individually as people, but men in particular need to take time to do your own mental wellness every day. For that moment of just be in your thoughts. It doesn't have to be profound every day. You don't need to have Walt Whitman in your head every day and coming up with proverbs and, Socrates and Plato. You don't have to be on a philosophical side. You can just sit and think, listen to chill music from Ibiza, and just be in a space where you're able to just kind of let the day go. And I think for me, that works for me.
I
may
think that's
not work,
great.
you know. And for other people, it might be taking a walk. It might be walking the dogs. It might be getting into a book. It might be watching, 7 straight episodes of 2.5 Men. you know,
Binge watching an anime series,
right.
like whatever it is
Whatever.
for you.
As long as you get your time and your space for you. And I think that's important. Is there's a lot of pressure in families that the dad's got to be the kids. Da, da, da. When the kids go to bed, you can say to your wife, "Listen, I need 20 minutes. Just give me my 20 minutes, please." And I
Mhm.
think if you're honest about it, your spouse, your significant other will give you that time if they truly love you and understand who you are.
Yeah. And there's a question, and I'll answer it real quick because we have our lightning round of whimsical questions coming up from in the chat. Of serious question: why men in particular? Well, because men right now are the serious problem.
Yeah.
They're, and I don't, and I mean that in any way that you want to take that. Men are the problem right now. We have failed each other as men to police each other, to better each other, demand more of each other, to hold each other and ourselves accountable. Because, like Evan Fields just said, because we suck and we're stuck. It's not even that
Yeah.
men suck in the end, it's we're stuck.
Yeah.
We are so indoctrinated on the male side, and that bleeds over into the female aspects. But I can't talk from a female side. I'm not a woman. So I choose this from the male side because that's my lane. I watch my lane and I know that I can influence men in a positive way. So why men? Because men need a lot of work, and we need role models who are willing to come out and talk about these things. Because right now, we have so many men that are listening to Joe Rogan or Theo Vaughn or shitbags like that who don't understand what masculinity is, or they don't even ask the simple questions of, can I be better? How do I hold myself accountable? Did I do something wrong? They fork over their accountability onto others.
Oh, they're
We're
not even
doing
asking
this.
the question, Nick. That question doesn't even pop in their
Yeah.
head. It's literally like talking to a Neanderthal.
Yes. And
That's
so
yeah.
it needs to be out there. We have to put this information out there. I don't want to have to talk about how to be a positive masculine role model. That said, I'd rather talk about this and the amazing things that men can learn, and how we can be better together, and how we can help each other and support each other. I'd much rather talk about this than geopolitics, because this is fun. Because it's fun to talk to my friends like this and people I don't know, and learn about their lives and get these deep conversations, because that's what it means. Being intelligently masculine is an intentional act. It means you're doing it on purpose, and you're trying, and you're just working to be 1% better every day. Or even 0.5% better. Because if you're 50% better by the end of the year, you're 50% better. Or after 100 days, you're 50% better. So why not? Why not even try? So let's move into our whimsical questions. And thank you for that question in the chat.
Great
I
question.
appreciate you for
Who,
asking it.
who asked that, by the way?
K-Rom asked it. So thank you for asking. I
Yeah, great
appreciate it.
question.
Welcome if you're new to the community. If you're not, thanks for being here with us. Thank you, everyone who's in the chat with us, too. We're in the final segment of Intelligent Masculinity, where we move over into the Mulan side. A little bit whimsical, because I love Mulan, and I learned a lot of lessons from that movie. And I'll Make a Man Out of You is the Let's Go Girls clarion call for men. It's our battle cry. In so many ways. And I want your opinions on these next questions for me. So, Eric, to you, what does it mean to be as swift as a coursing river?
There's 2 ways to answer this, but I'll go with my version. There's the what it actually meant, what the author of the song, what he intended for that to be. The which Donny Osmond did a great job, by the way, on the recording. Just so anybody didn't know who sang that, it was Donny Osmond. But it was so as swift of a river means that you're able to, on the male side, it's being able to move quickly to react to situations, to kind of be the hole in the wall, to plug the hole in the dam, to be the rescuer, the firefighter that runs into the building, the doctor that runs into the emergency room to take care of a patient who's bleeding, or even the husband that goes and runs and takes care of their child who just hurt themselves. It's being able to just act quickly when situations arise. And it doesn't have to be battle or war. It can just be life. It just means being responsive in a way that you're not delaying your response to a situation.
Adaptive and proactive.
Yes.
I think I like that. I do. What is your alternative? You said you were going to give me two here.
Well, the other is run in, guns blaring, shoot first, ask questions later.
Well, yeah, I guess. To me, that's more of a raging fire than a river.
What's that?
That's a raging fire to me more than a river.
I would say that's a class 5 rapid.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's fair.
If we're going to stay in the water motif, right?
That's going down freaking Niagara Falls or Angel Falls
without the bucket.
Without the bucket.
Without
just
the bucket.
dropping. Just right. Like, hey, I can fall.
It's like walking off the cliff knowing that there's a cliff there and you don't care what's underneath it. Or if you want to go skydiving, you only need the parachute if you want to do it twice.
That's one way to look at it.
Right?
You're not wrong. It's a long drop with a sudden stop. And you don't want to be that sudden stop. No. Okay. I love this. This is fun. All right. Our next question. How do you embody the force of a great typhoon?
I think it's being able to engage people in situations and life events aggressively, but with a sense of tepidness. Like you do it with a way that's, like when you think about a typhoon, it's very well organized. Yeah. Okay. If we're going to define what a typhoon technically is, it's basically a wind event with a lot of water, but it's very well organized, but it's moving very quickly. It's rotating rapidly. I think for men, it's being able to be very organized with your thought process to be able to respond to the event so that you can be as fast as a river, but in a manner that's very well organized, which is two things. You can either be well organized and not do damage, or you can lay waste to everything.
Yeah.
Which is going to, and I think all this kind of is this push-pull with men on when to be more masculine and when to be more feminine, and when to merge and juxtapose the two together to get the best absolute outcome in any situation, event, discussion, that kind of thing. And I think that's always the internal battle with men, right? It's when does that Y chromosome pull too much versus the X side?
Yeah. It's mindfulness in practice in many ways is another way to think, at least for me, to think about it. And so moving on to our next question here. How are you as strong as a raging fire?
Again, it's the same thing. A raging fire can be really destructive. Remember, a fire doubles in size every 20 seconds. That's back to my firefighter days, by the way. So when you leave a fire unattended, it will literally just burn out of control. But I think you need the intensity of a fire that's well controlled, means that you can be very pinpoint focused on what you need to do. You can be exacting with a lot of intensity in your mannerisms, in your behavior, in your intent, without destroying the planet around you.
I'm writing it down as you're saying some of it. I'm trying to take notes too while we go. And it's that I like that metaphor though, of focused with that phrase of focused with a lot of control to avoid breaking the world or setting the world on fire. I think that we're living through men trying to set the world on fire who are focused with a lot of control, who are not avoiding setting the world on fire. But that's a discussion for another day because we're here to talk about it.
Conversation you didn't want to have.
Yeah, that's the conversation that we'll have.
Yeah.
We always have, so we don't need that here.
Right. We don't need that today.
But finally, and in our last minutes, so because I know you're going to have to run here soon too, is how are you mysterious as the dark side of the moon?
I think I take that for my own self to be clever. It's about being smarter than what people expect you to be. It's to be that analytical mind that can work through a very difficult problem, or to be able, like, men are fixers, right? We always want to fix something. We always think if it's broken, we have to fix it. That's our persona, right? You know, and sometimes being mystical or being mysterious means not having to fix it. Sometimes you don't want to fix it. It's not our job to fix what is already broken, but you can also fix something that doesn't want to be fixed. And it's knowing when to change the light bulb.
I like that. Knowing when not to and when to. Is
It's
having that
having
mindfulness.
it's having wisdom to know that yeah, this is not something I need to get into. So let me just kind of
Wisdom to keep your nose out of things.
let me be in the room without being in the room.
And I think that goes back to, in the end, wrapping it all back into some of the things we've talked about, is that patience, but is that ego-free mentality. Is
Yeah.
it's not about you. It's the wisdom to keep yourself out of it.
Yeah.
And the wisdom to let yourself be involved when it's needed. So this has been such
Just
an
can I add on
incredibly
one
fun
more thing?
conversation. Yeah.
I want to add one more thing to that. I
Yeah.
think with me in particular, this is a concept I've really recently started to just grasp around, is that, you know, unfortunately as a physician, as a surgeon, it's always type A. It's always I'm the one that has to be right all the time. Like, when a patient walks in, they're looking to me to fix the problem. Like, so this is an inherent ingrained medical training. Like, you have to have the answer, right? Patient comes in, I have to have the answer.
Mm-hmm.
And if I don't have the answer, I have to look it up and get back to them, draw laboratories, do radiology studies. But it's for me to solve the puzzle, right? But sometimes the relationships and the people that we deal with outside of our work are not puzzles to be solved. We're not therapists, we're men, right? We like things to fit where they're supposed to fit, but we also need to know when not to reach our hands in the cookie jar. Like, just because you're in the kitchen doesn't mean you're the chef,
Yeah.
right? And unless we're asked to help, the question shouldn't be, why do you want my help? The question should be, how can I help you? What do you need? What is it that you would like me to do? It's to take that step backwards and be more passive in conversation, to be more relationships, to be more in and more validating. I believe the word I really